What is up, everyone? I wanted to react to the game that we had happen last night. Team Venezuela versus Team Japan, in which the stars were out, man. What a great game. If you follow me in my previous video, I spoke about this in my predictions, and I did have Team Japan beating Team Venezuela in a close game in which they would pull out late. But man, when you look at the star power on both sides, Team Venezuela with Ronald Acuna Jr., Luis Arias, Gleyber Torres, Andres Jimenez, Miguel Garcia, a great pitching staff, and vice versa. Team Japan, who has a bunch of stars, and the most important one, Shohei Ohtani, who is arguably the most talented player that I've seen play next to Ken Griffey Jr. in my lifetime. And then you follow that up with Yamamoto, who's one of the best pitchers in the MLB. You're going into that game with your ace on the mound, one of the best pitchers in the game. And for Team Venezuela to set the tone the way they did, with Ronald Acuna Jr. leading off the game with a home run, again, stars being the stars. And the response to that is Shohei Ohtani with the home run. That's how we're setting the tone of the game. That's the stars being the stars. And that is what the World Baseball Classic demonstrates to everybody. That's what it puts on display. When you have players at this type of star power playing against one another in this type of a competitive setting, when you get these type of results, when you get the stars doing star things, it's incredible for the sport of baseball. And when you look at the game in its totality, Team Venezuela cashed in big time on their opportunities. And Team Japan, listen, when they got the momentum in their direction, after the big time 3-run home run, after the beginning, when they were up 5-2, they had the momentum. But Team Venezuela, shout out to De Jesus, the pitcher who I have no idea why he's not in the MLB, shutting it down for 2 1/3 inning, being able to provide that stopgap to being able to get them to the back end of their bullpen. That was humongous for Team Venezuela because it allowed them to get back in the game. You saw it with the Miguel Garcia home run and then the big time home run by Abreu, the 3-run jack that essentially wins them the game. And when you think about it, right, because Team Japan, they did have an op, and remember I said this in my previous video, in these tight games, it comes down to being able to come through clutch when the opportunity presents itself. And Shohei Ohtani did have the opportunity to make something happen with runners on base that probably would have put them up even more if he was able to get the big time hit. And he didn't. And that was the turning point in the game because Team Venezuela was able to keep them at bay. And when you go up that much, especially early on in the game, I think they were up 3. When you have that much time to still catch up left in the game, anything can happen, especially with the lineup that Team Venezuela has. You got to give credit to Team Venezuela and their bullpen for doing such a phenomenal job. Team Japan, they did what they did, man. They had some great players, but Team Venezuela moves on. They had a great game plan. They were attacking. The stars were being great, man. I was kind of surprised at how great they were swinging and how comfortable they were in the dish going up against Yamamoto. That just goes to the level of talent that Team Venezuela has. And going back to what I said in the first video that I did about the World Baseball Classic, when you talk about what the WBC brings to the table and having all of these players being able to showcase what they can do and getting the opportunity to go up against the big time guys. These are players that probably some people haven't heard of, that they're like, man, they're really, really good. And that's what the WBC provides to a lot of these players, man. So, man, shout out to Venezuela for being able to move on to the semifinal round, man. And them going up against Team Italy next. I have no idea who's going to win that game just because now I just believe that it's a 50-50 thing. And it's going to be really, really dope to see how that chain of events turns out in that game. You know, going back to what I said in my first video, man, when you see how baseball has transpired, right, over the course of time, going back to the year 2006, when teams were one-sided, and now you're seeing the competitive nature between all of these teams in these countries and these islands. It's great for the sport of baseball, and I cannot wait to see what the next wave of players is going to be able to do in the WBC. But that's all I got for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. With that being said, catch you on the next one.